So next couple of days are going to be impactful, and I think hopefully life-changing, because every time I've attended masterminds myself, I've always went back to my business, fully motivated, ready to kick 2024 off. And I think over the next couple of days, it's just very important for you to network with each other, spend time with myself. Obviously, we've got a lot of events happening as well outside of the next 2 days. And making sure that we set the intention of what you want to get out of the next 2 days, okay? So it's not all going to be just about content or hacks on how to install Dripify campaigns and that type of stuff, yeah? So I've got hundreds of hours of content online now over the last 5 years or so. So what I want is to make it really impactful for you, so you've actually go away back into your business with an action plan, key steps of what you need to implement, and know where your roadblocks are, so that can free you up to think bigger. I think with a lot of people in the Mastermind group, a lot of it still comes down to mindset. So when I've looked at my success over the last probably 5 years or so, that really streamlined, like kicked me off into multi-millions, was when I looked back over the changes, it wasn't tactics at all. It was literally just the daily habits that I've installed in myself and my surroundings every single day to get to where I've got to. So day one is going to be introduction. So we'll just go around the room, just introduce each other, just where you're from, what your niche is, what your background, what brought you here. And then what we're going to do is just a little exercise in, you've got workbooks in front of you and notebooks. So in the workbook, there'll be a section called Momentum Snapshot. And that's really just reviewing where you've been over the last 6 to 12 months and what you want to get out of the next couple of days. Because if you write down the intention of what you want to get out, you'll be surprised that it'll just come back to you, which I'll share. That works really well in the universe as well, because we'll come on today too, one of the speakers. I set the intention of 2024, basically. I want to buy and roll up some companies. I want to go big in business again. So then I bumped into Daniel, and that's pretty much what he's been doing. So just always when you set the intention of something, you will be connected to the right type of person. So if you say what you want out of the next 2 days, whether it's me, someone else, or someone in the group, you will find the answer that you're looking for. So what we'll do after that is I'm going to cover off the 2024 agency model. So what I believe the model is going to be for all of you moving into 2024, and how that can work. And then my main piece is going to be the $1 billion mindset. So basically boiling down all of the principles and every single thing I've learned over the last decade or so, being in personal development, from every single mentor that I've learned from, and really trying to shortcut that into your brains and your subconscious for you to take away and implement for yourselves. Then we'll break for a nice lunch. So there's I don't know, you probably walk past where the breakfast area was. That's where the lunch is going to be. And then after that, I've got my friend Dr. Chris Spearman, who's pretty much probably one of the best salespersons I've ever come across. So he's going to be sharing how to create a business to live life on your terms, and we're going to go through some sales, because I think still a lot of you are not struggling, but being able to pitch big business. So I give you the pitch deck retained, but it's more about actually getting in the mindsets of the clients and actually being successful in sales is very important, because once you get the client on board and you get them exclusive retained and you win bigger retainers, it makes the job a whole lot easier. And then we'll break for a quick coffee break, and then I'll do open format Q&A this afternoon before we leave for the yacht. So the yacht's going to be really cool, which I'll show you in a second. So we need to leave 3:45 p.m. sharp, because we need to be at the yacht for 4:15, so 30 minutes time, which is on Dubai Harbour, pretty much opposite where I live. So it's just off the palm. And then day two, Ken is going to be sharing his $2 million remote agency. So that's going to be really exciting, because you get the best of both worlds. You'll see how I've scaled my agency over the last decade, with probably what I would say the hybrid approach, where I've got people physically in the office and some remote. Whereas Ken's managed to move everything that we've taught into a fully remote model, which I think some of you in the room want that over having an office. And then Lucy, our head of marketing, is going to be walking you through how to build and manage a sourcing team. So we're going to show you exactly how we've got, I think, 6 or 7 sources in our business now, doing deals for the team. 80% of our business and placements are founded by the sourcing team. So how you really dial that in, I mean, we've got like real in depth around that, because I think that's probably one of the biggest things you can just go away and implement for 2024. And then we're going to be sharing, after a lunch break, the live events and why that's your biggest asset. So I'll probably push that a few times in the mastermind, but this is going to be showing you how you can do that with an event or webinar, and how you can get your marketing team to run that. And then we'll, again, break for coffee, and then we're going to be doing a 2024 operational plan. So that's going to be in your workbooks. I want you to physically go away with what numbers you're going to commit to for next year, what hires you're going to commit to, what the profitability is, what type of clients you're going to get. So you actually physically commit to that, so you can go away and kickstart next year. And then probably one of the most exciting things we've got is I've managed to land Daniel Priestley. So who knows who Daniel Priestley is, by the way? 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so Daniel is, he was one of the first books I ever read when I worked at Nigel Frank, which was where I used to work in recruitment, probably over 10 years ago. And it was a book called Entrepreneurial Revolution. So this was talking about the industrial age, and then how you can go to being like a business owner and entrepreneur. And that was really impactful. And then I attended one of Daniel's key person of influence one-day events in London. This was 10 years ago. I hadn't even started my business. And yeah, anyways, it's come full circle now, where he was just in Dubai for a week. He was actually speaking at my friend's Mastermind on the Palm, ironically enough. And I just messaged my friend. I was like, oh, I'd love to meet Daniel. So I went down, met him, had a good chat with him. And yeah, I managed to convince him to come and share his wisdom with you guys, which is going to be really exciting. This guy owns 9 companies, multi-millionaire. And he talks a lot about like team structures. So one of the things over these next couple of days is team. So it's very important for all of you to unpack your mindset that you can't just do it yourself. You'll never ever be ultra successful. You'll never get financially free doing all the billings yourself, doing all of the operations yourself. You need to hire a team. And that's the whole point why you joined the Mastermind, was you're one of the few 5% that's actually want to ascend and actually wants a bigger life for yourselves. So I'm going to help you do that over the next couple of days. So yeah, so yacht today, 4 p.m. So that's going to be a big yacht. I've invited some of my friends as well from Dubai. So there's a few entrepreneurs, there's a few big influencers. It's going to be a big mix of people. So there's be people with like millions of followers on Instagram. There's going to be people with millions of dollars in the bank, and there's going to be just cool people that you want to hang around with. Yeah. So that's going to be really cool. I've got like drinks, everything included on there, so that we're going to be on there for 3 hours. Leaves at Dubai Harbour. Then after that, you guys can do what you want, because obviously tomorrow is going to be a big day as well. So we'll finish around about 7:30. If you all want to congregate together and continue into the night, you can. I would probably recommend West Palm Beach, and Rowan will probably put a link in where you can all meet up. And then tomorrow night, we're going to be doing a dinner at Urla, which is probably one of the most iconic, like best view places of the Burj Khalifa and the fountains. So this is the restaurant where we're going to be sitting. We've got like 3 of the best tables in there. So we're going to be dining there at 7:30 p.m. tomorrow. So yeah, so that's going to be the next couple of days. So we're going to be action-packed. So now we'll do some intros around the room. So we'll just go around. What's your name, where you're from, how long your agency has been going for, what your niche is, and really what you want to get out of the sessions. Okay, so I asked you all to complete a form over the last few days, which is quite interesting reading. I've grabbed a few snapshots of like, not mentioning any names, but what people's progress has been over the last 6 months. So some people have had really good last 6 months of the year. So someone, for example, from the Elite Mastermind in June has created a completely new recruitment brand, fully automated, delegated, it's implemented, and they've got a team in both Philippines and South Africa, which is awesome. So they've got 5 marketing executives, 2 accepted an offer and still searching for 1, and PH team stands at 10. So that's like big. Like that's exactly the type of growth we want to see over the last 6 months, is actually making hires, really building out a solid team. So really good share from whoever that was. Staff, 3 recruiters, and so 2 solo front-end preneurs, 4 resources, and a PA to be an executive assistant like Rowan, which is really cool. Social media and systems integrator in India. So that's worked really well. Backend works very well and smooth. Lead generating slow. Okay, secured one client registration using Apollo, Dripify, Zapier, Recruiter Flow, which is really cool. Joined Mastermind group and visited corporation in the Dream 100. Okay, people going from team 2 to 5, 2 delivery consultants in South Africa. It's going to be interesting to see. I'm going to ask around the room how the delivery consultant roles working in South Africa compared to the marketing sources. That's going to be really interesting. So for those of you that haven't hired delivery consultants in South Africa, make sure you're speaking to the people that have, what the experience has been like, how they've hired them, how they've onboarded them. So we are now running a 400k sales a month, averaging 40k GP. I think I know who that is, because you're still mentioning the revenue, which is really good though. I have reshaped the business niche. We are focused on a wider range of positions, have signed 5 new clients across the USA, doubled revenue, added 2 more full-time members to the team, started working on branding projects early days. We've changed from having almost every counter offered to having roles accepted with candidates starting, which is good. Yeah. So these are some of the major wins for the people in the group. Maintain steady income, close 2 new clients, building our first client in the UEA was massive. Get more contractors billing. 32k fee last month, signed a Dream 100 client today, 4 placements within 1 month. Very good. New client offer out to hire a player recruitment consultant in South Africa. So it's good to see a lot of people are doing this now in terms of making some hires, which feeds really well into the mastermind over the next couple of days. 5 new clients, 1 new retainer, sold first retainer, which is good. So we're selling retainers a lot, which was good to see. So again, like the people that are selling retainers and people who want to sell retainers, make sure you just networking with each other over the next couple of days. Exceeding $2 million in revenue for the year. That's Ken, so well done. Opened office in South Africa, increased team, exceeded profit by $1 million. So that's a goal like people want to get to, yeah? So we need to follow the path to success. New website, double revenue, good stuff. Recruiting, onboarding bigger team. 41k record month, which is very good. Okay, so basically what we're going to cover off now is the solopreneur model versus the 2024 agency model. So I think some of you might be in between this model, but all of us want to get to the 2024 agency model. So what we're going to share with you first is, so there's a solopreneur model. Now, this is how I see it, is like, as a solopreneur, it means you're the one doing the deals, the placements, okay? So you might have VAs, you might have marketing sources, but if you're the person that's actually responsible for speaking to the candidate, getting the interview feedback, closing the deal, that is a solopreneur model, okay? Because that means the business is fully dependent on you. It means the physical money won't come into the business without you doing something off the business, okay? So there might be, I think there's some of you in the room with this type of model. There's nothing wrong with it, which we'll go through. There's some pros and cons in both, okay? But normally the structure is the same. So if you're in solopreneur phase, you're the founder, but you're also the recruiter, you're the CEO, you're pretty much everything. And you might have maybe you could have 3 marketing sources. You could have a remote ops person, which I think Ryan will talk a little bit about the remote ops at some point, and a general VA. You could have a nice business like that. You could do 2 to 4 deals a month. You could achieve maybe 160k to 320k a year billings. And yeah, you could live a pretty good life. You could have a good tool stack. Over here, Dripify, Slack, Streak CRM. You could leverage a lot of technology. The main goals for you as a solopreneur would be to build your personal brand. Very, very important. Keep operations simple. Keep your expenses low. Have repeatable clients. So most people that are in this stage, they'll have 2 or 3 good clients that are repeat business all of the time. And that's what normally keeps them going with the 2 to 3 deals, 4 deals a month. And getting more candidates inbound. So this structure is, it's okay to be average, but I think all of you in the room want more to life. Like, we don't all want to have certainly a recruitment agency forever or be a recruiter within the recruitment agency. We all want to get out of it. There's some of you been in business 30 years, 20 years, 10 years, some just founding, yeah? But some people are still like, we want to get away from this type of environment. So yeah, so you can make 160 to 320k a year, and it's very profitable. Like, you could make probably realistically 70 to 75% profit margins in a solopreneur recruitment agency. And it's, Felix Dennis, one of my old mentors, I read his book, How to Get Rich. I think a lot of you, who's read that book, by the way? Yeah, you should all read that book. I've still by my bedside. I've read it easy 15, 20 times. Almost a billionaire, I think, self-made, 700 million from England. And he talks about, like, it's not about salaries, a bit like addiction to crack cocaine or whatever, like getting a monthly salary every month, like it'll keep you away from achieving your goals. Because same as a solopreneur, is like when you make 1 or 2 placements and you think, wow, I've made 10K or 20K in the bank, you just keep doing that and you get stuck in that cycle and you're like, oh, well, that's my money now. I don't want to invest that in team and everything else and risk all of that because I've worked so hard to get that 10, 20K. We need to get out of that mindset, because when we really look at the business model, you can make, say, 250K profit a year. Let's say if you're doing 3 deals a month, you're all going to be paying yourself around about 150K a year. There's no point being in business if you're not paying in 150K a year. You could probably all get that in a salary job somewhere else. So after that, you're probably left with around about $100,000 profit per year in the actual company, what I would call net cash reserves, okay? So let's say, for instance, in 3 years' time, you save those 100Ks, you're paying yourself 150K a year, you're working hard to get 250K profit a year as a solopreneur, you'll bank around about 300K, okay? That's not retirement money. That's like not going to get your kids through private school enough. Like that money will easily go. But the benefits and the reason why people get stuck in that, there's no hassle from employees. We seem to think that employees are problems, but really they are solutions and they are revenue generators, okay? I had the same mindset when I first started, because I'd hired and fired some employees that were just more headaches and they cost me money. And I felt the pain. And then I had to go back in the trenches again and generate more income to then hire more employees, but it gets better. And the simplicity in that business. So I would say those are only the 2 plus points in that type of business model. It's not sellable. You cannot buy your time back. So I mean, to get to like 250K profit a year in that business, you are working 50, 60 hours a week. And most importantly, you will be in the same place in the next 5 years as you are right now in that business model. Nothing will change. It'll go up and down. You might do 2 deals 1 month, 0 the next, 4 deals. You're still going to be in the same place 5 years' time. And it's increased workload and stress because you can't take holidays. You can't switch off. You can't think, oh, such and such has got that, because you've only really got maybe a couple of marketing sources, a VA. But really the responsibility of the client calling in, the candidate calling in, the candidate dropping out in an interview, it's all on your shoulders. And it's very isolated and lonely. Like, I couldn't do what I've done without having an amazing team, both in Ronald James Agency Blueprint. That's what gets me up at work every morning. That's what motivates me to share wins in Slack channels, have our daily huddles in Zoom, meet everyone in person, being in the office some of the times. When you're working as a solopreneur, it is very, very lonely because you've got no actual other humans to, it's okay, like, let's work on this together and being as a team. And yeah, you're working 50, 60 hours a week to really hit good numbers. And it's always going to be like that. So for the next 3 years, you would still be doing that. So that's a solopreneur model. So hopefully we all realize that we don't want that, yeah? So is everyone in agreement that we don't want the solopreneur model for 2024?
Can I add a caveat
Yeah,
to that?
sure can.
You have to go through the solo model to get
Sure.
to the agency model, right? So like if you're brand new, that is your first destination on the way to maybe a different destination, right?
Yeah. Okay, the 2024 agency model. So who's read the book Built to Sell? I brought my copy along.
Just
Yeah.
interviewed him for my podcast, dude.
John Warlow?
Yeah, it's
No
coming out in
way.
2 weeks.
Wow, that's amazing. Oh, well, I mean, that's going to sink in really well with this. So who's read it? 1, 2, 3, 4. You need to all, like, the first book you buy on the plane or on Kindle or on Audible when you're flying back, it's Built to Sell book. I probably read this again 10 times. Like, some of the best books I've read a lot of times. I've probably got 4 or 5 copies of this. And this explains the solopreneur going into like a real agency model that is sellable, a sellable asset. Doesn't mean that you actually sell a business, but at least it's in a position where it's got SOPs, it's got a team, it's got a sales pitch deck that's consistent. So a lot of like how I built my business was off the model Built to Sell. So like create a business that can thrive without you. So if you haven't got the book, buy the book, and it'll join a lot of the dots that I'm teaching, and it'll help make sense. And then, yeah, check out Ken's podcast with John in a couple of weeks' time. That'd be cool.
Can I tell you a quick side?
Sure, yeah.
I'm embarrassed of this, but you told me to read this book for since I met you.
Mm-hmm.
No, they didn't. And about,
It's probably the only thing you haven't done though. Like, you followed a lot of the steps, so it's fine.
About 2 months ago, Nicole Randa was
Within the next like week or so. So yeah, so the 2024 agency model is a team makes money while you sleep. There's no better feeling than when money's sitting in a bank account or deals are going in and you've done nothing. You've literally just checked your Slack channel and there's a deal come in. Like, there's honestly no better feeling than like printing a money machine that like $10,000 or whatever's coming into your bank account, and the team and SOPs and the business you created is built that. Like, there's no better feeling. And it runs while you take vacations. Every single year since I've started the business, I've always had 5-6 holidays every single year without fail. And I could never have done that just having a solopreneur business. Like, having an agency and having a real team that actually generates revenue and are actually billers in the team is like a game changer, because you can actually enjoy the holidays, and ironically enough, you come with better ideas, clear head, and you come back more inspired in the business, and that helps drive the growth again. And that's one of the key things that helped me keep growing the business was I could take holidays, and then I was just reading business books, I was journaling, I was thinking strategic, and I created all of the ideas, yeah? So whether it was automation campaigns, virtual teams, marketing sources, all of those ideas came from having freedom and headspace in a different environment that I come back to work in the business. And you're you build valuable assets. So as you're building this agency model out, you're building assets. So whether it's the way you do pitches to win new business, whether you've got case studies, whether you've got websites, videos, team, SOPs, all of these are assets in your business. And most importantly, like this type of agency model, you make more money. Like, black and white, you will make more money and a lot more leverage over time, which is what I'm going to share the difference with you on. And you build a bigger moat around your niche. So again, still in 2024 coming in for my agency, Ronald James, we're still the leaders in the Northeast tech market. And that was only done because I've got a team, we've got a great database, we did amazing marketing, we've got great LinkedIn profiles, we've got great marketing sources, we're doing events, which Lucy's going to share. All of those things are building a moat around the agency, which means that you as a solopreneur would never have got that stage. So it meant you're fighting with all of the new competition coming in every year. 10,000s of agencies starting every single year. Other recruiters wanting a bit of your pie of the niche. Yeah? The only way you're going to protect that with the moat is having a team around you that can do a lot of the things that are going to build protection in that niche. And it's more consistent and predictable. Like, if I look at the numbers over the agency, even over the last 5 years consistently, it's pretty much the same. Like, pretty much guaranteed every single month. Not every single month the same recruiter does the same amount of deals, but when one person has a bad month, the other person has a good month. And one of the people that I didn't think was that good suddenly has a flyer and does 4 deals, and the other person does 2. So it's more predictable and consistent. You'll never get that in your own business just doing it yourself. And it's really less dependent on you. It's like having a business that is actually an asset as opposed to a hindrance on your time. And it's most importantly a cash producing asset. So as the goal is, when you scale your agency to $1 million, $2 million a year or more, you want to invest in other things, whether it's property, you might want to invest in SaaS, you might want to do other business models, yes? Like, you're not going to want to do this for 10 years. But it means you can still keep the business, you can keep the team, you can leverage profit share schemes and all of those type of things with your employees. And every single year, it's still producing the same cash that it did the year before and the year before without you doing any work. So it's like, it's the best investment you could have, better than property or anything else, because once you've got the team dialed in, the profit margins are so high compared to if you were just investing that cash in a property or the S&P 500, for example. And you get bigger client retention. So I've shared in previous masterminds, not just the pitch deck, but like where I've won 500K a year retainers. And you've got all of those assets that you can go and produce and pitch in your own business. But I think the biggest thing holding you back, no one's came to me and said they've won a 300-400K retainer since I've done it. The only reason being is because you don't have a full team of confidence where you can actually go into a company and say, we can place your 30, 40 hires this year. Only example is probably Ken, and I might have missed 1 or 2 people. You need a team to do that. But when you get the team, you get bigger clients, so you get more retention. So it means your business is more stable. So when there's downturns or whatever, you've got the bigger clients that are blue chip type of companies that you're really in the trenches with, like building their talent teams out. And it's true passive income. So there's no better feeling than, again, you literally waking up, deals are done, you're making profit without you doing anything. And you can sell it. So again, going back to the principles of build to sell, been plenty of opportunities that I could sell the business Ronald James. The only reason why I haven't done that is because I still need to be authentic in myself. If everything I teach, I need to be doing myself. Like I'm always been of the mindset of I will only ever teach or give advice on something I know really well that I'm doing right now. I don't want to be inauthentic to say, well, this is what you should do in your agency or this is how you should do that when I haven't tried and tested it in my business. So, but you can get it to a point where you can choose to sell it. And at the end of the book, John talks about like the guy that wanted to exit his business. I think he wanted $7-8 million for it at the end. And by the time he'd built all of the great SOPs, the great team, and everything was just working without him, he actually didn't want to sell it. And that's a mindset we want to get to. So this would be the team structure of the model. So it's pretty much sort of what we've got. We've got a little bit more than that because we're doing like around about 1.5, 1.8 million a year. But you'll see, I don't know too much. Yeah, so you'll have yourself as the founder. You'll have what I would call a real PA remote. They can be remote, but you want to get to a point where you've got a real PA. So not one in the Philippines, for example. So like someone either from England, US, Australia, wherever you are. That's going to really save you a lot of time because that's the person you're going to trust in your inbox. They're going to reply as you. They're going to like sign off invoices. They're going to check accounts. They're going to deal with your bookkeeper. They're going to deal with your team. They can do interviews for your business. They can like do job applications. They can do reviews, everything. And then you've got your marketing source and lead. So there's someone that's been in your business maybe 12 months, and they're the ones that are fully responsible for your marketing sources, okay? So they're doing daily huddles with the marketing sourcing team. They're reviewing Loom videos. They're reviewing LinkedIn outreach videos. They're going to be dedicating what jobs maybe they're going to be working on. So again, you can really scale this up. You could probably have 4, 5, 6. I mean, I think we've got 7 marketing sources, for example. Ken, how many have you got?
6. 2 are doing recruiting part-time.
Yeah. So that's normally around about the area that you'd be looking at them. Because they're so cheap, as it were, and I see it as free advertising and creating omnipresence in the market, I would always just be hiring them. But these are the key revenue generators in your business that you want to all have for 2024. You want to be aiming for at least 4 delivery consultants. Now, it might not take you 12 months. It might take you 18 months. It might take you 2 years of hiring and firing, yeah? You can't have 1. You can't just have 2 because you need, 1, you need competition, and to get more predictability, you need an even spread. But this is going to force you to grow your client side. So client acquisition for you as business owners in 2024 is you're just meeting clients all of the time. You're pitching, you're winning bigger business, whether it's exclusive retained, you work with bigger clients. But if your business has been going around a few years, you've got active clients already. You've probably got 30 or 40, 50 signed terms clients that you've had within the past that now you can probably be confident that you could facilitate more of their deliverability. So there might be other roles within those companies that you can now deliver on because you've got delivery consultants. So I've been very realistic in terms of the actual costs and what they would generate revenue. So you're always going to have probably what we call a superstar biller, someone that's going to bill more than the others, yeah? So say, for instance, I've done this in pounds, but you can say same in dollars. So your delivery consultants, you might have your best one that's starting off or already been in your company. So they're going to start off like per quarter, they might do 2 to 3 deals a month. So they're going to be doing 75K a quarter. Then quarter 3, quarter 4 is normally when, that's when you make most of your placements, quarter 3, quarter 4, traditionally for us in the business. So your best biller might do around about 350K a year. Your second biller will be doing consistent 250K a year, again, probably 2 deals a month. And then you've got your delivery 3 and delivery 4. So sometimes the one in the bottom, they've just started maybe on your hires. So that's sort of where the numbers are going to be. So your total per quarter, so you're probably going to do, you can easily do $1 million a year just with 4 billing consultants, and that's you doing 0 deals. So if you want to be even more profitable, and sometimes Ken does this on, I think, some of his bigger roles, he'll still dive in and do a 20, 30K deal if he wants. And that, again, that's just pure profit on the top line of your business. In terms of cost, depending on how you're doing the commission structure, like I would normally account for a third rule. So a third is going to go on your employee staffing costs. So that's going to be basic salaries and commission. And then a third on operating costs. So accountant, bookkeeper, tax, overheads if you've got office, all of your technology, all your software, your LinkedIn recruiter licenses, all of that type of stuff. And normally a third like plus profit. But really, like when you've got this model here, nice and lean, you should be doing around about 50% profit margins. So I think Ken's going to share his. His is pretty much ours. Tradition I'll show you with Ronald James has always been pretty much 50-ish% profits. Obviously, you'd be more tax efficient with your advisor. We can show that we've made less profit, but make sure that you're paying a certain amount of tax or whatever, but all legitimately. But that's around about 50% margins. Having a remote ops in your business is, again, very important. So they're just going to deal with all of the technical shit. Because I noticed even in Ronald James, until like maybe 4 years ago, I probably had the logins for the WordPress site, for the landing pages, for ActiveCampaign, for email campaigns. I was the one going back in, or the Zapier stuff and that type of stuff. If you get a good remote ops person, again, Rianne's like launched our academy now where we can provide one for you, pay them $1,000 a month, and they're just going to look after all of the tech stuff. That's going to save so much time. But once you get to that point, you know you've got ops sorted. You've got a general VA. It's always handy to have a general VA from the Philippines, for example. Just do the spreadsheets, do the data, cleanse the CRM, all of the like just cleaning up basically below the operations person. So that's normally the structure. So you're going to have, I would say, 4 key hires that are like, I'm not going to say like proper employees, but like these are the hardest hires, yeah? Like these 4 are going to be the hardest hires because you're dealing with people that have got opportunities elsewhere with other recruitment agencies that want to make money. I've talked at length about my model of like, I've got like previous like women in the business that had babies, went on maternity, really good recruiters, came back into our business and they might work 3 days a week. We've got Bella and Tori, for example. They've been both with me. One's been with me for 7-8 years. One's been with me, I think, 3-4 years. And they're both awesome. They both do 2, 3, 4 deals a month each, just working 3 or 4 days a week, for example. So you can sometimes go down that route, or I think a lot of the modern era for 2024 would be taking advantage of the South African market, getting either experienced recruiters or marketing sources that can ascend, which Ken can talk about as well, into being a delivery consultant. So I think the aim for everyone next year is this should be your end goal probably by the end of next year. Should be there's no reason why you shouldn't all have 4 delivery consultants or close to. Because remember, even to get to 4, you're probably going to have to fire 2. So really you're going to have to hire 6 and fire 2. And then by the time the 4th one's in, by the time they're on-ramped in billing, maybe in quarter 2, quarter 3, it's going to take a little bit of time, okay? But because you've all got, a lot of you have got marketing sources now. Can you just raise your hands who's got a marketing source in South Africa? It's like 60% of the room, so that needs to definitely be 100%, like, because that's the first thing that you need to do. Then second thing, get a remote ops person, because they're just going to sort out all of the tech stuff, and you just don't need to worry about it. And then it's all about hiring delivery consultants. So the goal of this is to get consistent to 80K months, sometimes 100K months. Yeah, question?
Using what I just said, let's say someone does the 12 placements, 1 a month, $1,500 base, $1,000 per placement. We're going to pay them $2,500 a month total. That's going to be $30,000 for the year on somewhere between 225 and 250 grand in revenue. And that's the model. Now, if they need more money than that, because sometimes they do when they start, let's say they're making 2,200 US equivalent, same pay plan, because I want there to be transparency, but now I'll give you a $700 or $800 advance on your commission per month, just so I can bring you in without you taking a pay cut. Does that make sense? We'll go through it in a little more detail tomorrow. Yeah, so in fact, I have a girl that moved from the marketing team into recruiting about this time last year. Took her a while to start, exactly what James said. It took her 4 or 5 months before she even had something on the board. Now she's about 1 a month though. She just hit 194,500 for the year. She's got, the rest of this month, so she'll be over 2. and she'll make like 25 grand. So for her, I mean, she's out of college a couple of years. She's loving life. She's crushing it financially for where she's at, and it's obviously great numbers for us. So everybody wins. It's good. Yeah, I feel that the profile for a recruiter is a marketing sourcer. Like you've got to be outgoing. You got to like talking to people. You got to be engaging. It doesn't mean they're all going to make it, but that's the path. And get great at marketing, and then this carrot is out here for you if you want it. So we have 2 on the marketing team right now that are awesome, and we train them, and they're doing recruiting about 10 hours a week right now, and they're getting smaller commissions if they make a placement, but they're just doing it so they can learn. If they get good and decide to go that route, then we'll put them into delivery and we'll backfill them on the marketing team.
Like, are you better to be safe? I mean, is that the right word? Lower your risk in hiring someone by giving them 10K extra that has some experience, or hiring someone relatively new and train them.
If I live in New York and I'm going to have a recruiter in California, what do I care about whether they're in California or Cape Town? Like, I'm never meeting them in person anyway. You know what I mean? Like, we're meeting on Zoom. So if we're meeting on Zoom, then I'm going to go where the cost of labor is cheaper. Had our agency started differently, I'd love to be able to go into an office and see everybody. But if I can't, then I'm just going to squeeze it and maximize profit. And then you got to learn the techniques of being a really good remote leader, because turnovers are already tough. If you're going in physically to an office and you add, thousands of miles in between you, and that becomes a bigger challenge. So the benefit in you paying that guy the 45K or whatever you're going to pay him is that you can drive to him in 2 hours and have face-to-face meetings. That needs to be the gap. The delta is that $15,000 extra you're paying needs to pay off in terms of your presence with him, which you can do. You're not overpaying. So. Well, by next year, you'll be at 30. You'll be all set. Yeah.
Should I find them now as well?
Just go back in the hall, come back in, and we'll restart.
But I think also the difference here is Ken is paying 30K all in with
Yeah, it's all in.
commission,
Yeah.
while Gary is talking basic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's like, especially what I'm just starting to see, and you will see that when Ken's sharing. My model's slightly different. I'm office-based, then a bit of hybrid. Lucy, I think, is it 1 2 days work from home, most people? That works really well. I can afford to pay bigger basics in the office. Like, some of my employees have been with me a while, so they do get over 30K, 35, 40Ks. So, but because they're in the office, like most of the time, I can control that, so I know they're showing up. Whereas, like, if it's someone like 50, 60K salary sitting from home, working from home 24/7 as a recruitment role, it's like, there's no motivation for them to do deals. It's very hard. You know what it's like being a recruiter? It's hard. It's a hard gig. Like, being in the office with other people motivates. Like, seeing the jobs on the board, seeing someone going on, putting an interview on the board, like all of that. Whereas you're hiding from home on a 60K salary, it's like, shit, like this candidate's not picking up or whatever. Like, it's very, very hard. Whereas because Ken's outsourced that to Colombia and South Africa, the costs are very low, so the risk is low. Your risk is high, but as long as you're with them face to face most of the time, then it's okay, because you can sort of manage that risk. If they're just sitting at home, it's their motivation. Remember, it's a sales role at the end of the day, recruitment. So pay them good percentage commissions. Ken has got a really good big commission structure model, and it works really well. But I just don't like paying big basics, especially to recruiters that have sort of proven themselves. Normally by that time, they don't need to prove themselves again, and you've probably had the best years have been behind them. Whereas my motivation I've got people that have been in recruitment for 10, 15 years that work for me. That's because they've had a baby, they've come back to work, they work 3 days a week, and when they're working. They don't want to mess around. They've got kids at home and family and everything else. So it depends what stage of life that person's at as well.
Very good experiences in hiring more junior people, which are more hungry, but also more willing to learn. And what I learned, it's not so much about the years of experience. It's very often about the mindset. Are they really interested in getting to know the candidates? Are they really interested, like naturally interested as a person, in understanding the needs and the hassles of the clients? Saturated people very often think, I have seen this type of guy. I know already what he or she will be saying in 5 sentences. and this is pure poison for the business. So I would rather go for a more junior people that is hungry and can be trained the right way, instead of hiring someone who has proven himself or herself already and tries to tell me how the business should go. I'm not saying that I'm not willing to learn from them. This is not the point. It's more like very often experienced people are saturated, especially if you pay them high basis salaries.
I think where people get this wrong is I think when we put, and I've gotten it wrong too, I think a lot of times we'll put an ad out and we see what comes in and then we sort through it and then we decide, who we're going to hire. I think you need to get an avatar in your brain, to your point. Do I want someone young and ramping up? Do I want someone with 7 or 8 years experience? I literally get it down to the point of, okay, we need more male energy on the team. Literally, when I was looking in Colombia, I'm like, there's hardly any men on our team at all. Like, I need another dude in here. I'm tired of. So let's get some masculine energy. So I wanted, I wanted 7 or 8 years experience. I wanted a college degree. So now I'm looking for a guy in Colombia, 30 years old, with excellent English skills, right? That fits this pay band. So now I'm going, that's very targeted, instead of me throwing out an ad and seeing who comes in. And all of a sudden I got a grandmother with, 7 cats or something, right? It's just like not going to work. So, I mean, I think we need to know what their lifestyle is, what stage of life they're in. The US recruiters that we have, we don't pay them any base, no base at all, no salary. And they're both going to make over 100 grand because we pay them a very high commission, and they are secondary income earners in their house. And so we did that on purpose. It was like we wanted that kind of person that could just get after it and make the extra money and not need the base. So cool. So I just get, who exactly do we need for the team? You almost have like a mental picture of what they look like, what they sound like, and then go find that person.
Quick question on the, I really agree on your hiring more junior people than senior people. Question that I have there, you have recent graduates and people that have like 1, 2, 3 years of experience.
Always a second jobber, that we call it. Yeah. You don't want to be trialing first time they've came out of uni and it's the first job ever, because it'll just be a nightmare. Because they don't know the grass is greener, they don't know how to behave. You don't want to instill like just basics in them, yeah?
A persona that Ken you talked about. I made very good experience in hiring people with a humanities background, like history, for example, because they know how to ask questions, they know how to listen actively, they know how to connect the dots between the lines. Because I'm also a historian myself, so I've proven this theory right. And they are also not. No, I'm not biased at all. I can just say. I know that this can be also dangerous, but those people are like detectives, understanding the who, the how, and stuff like this. And they are also not so expensive.
Yeah, but personally, I always, from my experiences, they have to have recruitment experience. You just have not got the time. It's the 10,000 hour rule of especially it's really true in recruitment. You will never be a great recruiter until you've had loads of counter offers, candidates drop out, clients promise retain and they didn't, exclusive, not calling you back. You've got to go through all those battle scars. The last thing you want to hire is someone with a good attitude, second jobber, and they've got to go through all of that, cost you so much money, and then they probably get some success and then they go somewhere else. So that's why I always prefer, they have to have recruitment experience. Well, it's 1-2 years. We've got a great guy, Yas, he's flying now, isn't he? 4 or 5 deals a month. He's pretty much replacing Dan now, so Dan can be more strategic. And he had 2 years experience, or 1.5 years, but just the right attitude. Yeah, good attitude, young, 25. Is he 25? 20? Oh, 22, yeah. So he's the youngest hire I've made, but he just had the right attitude. Came from his family, I think, a little bit wealthy, and the other 2 brothers and sisters don't work, and he just wants to prove his family wrong, wants to make money for himself. So he's got the chip on his shoulder and the right attitude. So yeah.
But that applies to the delivery consultants, right? Not to the marketing sources.
Yeah. This is delivery consultant. Marketing sources is just fun, bubbly, good outgoing.
First time jobbers.
Yeah. Well, they are out of uni. That's the whole point, because no one grows up wanting to be a marketing sourcer. So is that pretty much covered off the model? Does anyone want me to be more specific about this? So all you need, it's 4 delivery consultants you want to get to. That's the goal. You might get 2 next year, but the whole point is to build to 4, marketing sourcer, your ops, and it's still really clean and easy by then. But if you can have 4 billers that are generating the income instead of you might say to yourself, oh, well, $1 million between the 4 and all of that team. Again, you're going back to solopreneur phase. If you did like 300K, 400K billings yourself, yes, you'd make more profit, but then it's like 60 hours in the business and it's dependent on you. I've always said this, like there's a big difference between my business, Ronald James now. It's probably even 4 years since I've been in the business day to day. I'd rather still that does like 1.5 million a year. If it was me in the business, it might do 2.5. But like, I'm happy to sacrifice that because this is a cash producing asset that works whilst I sleep and I don't have to do zero for it. There's a big difference. Like some people might say to me they make more money than my agency, but I know they're the ones that are relying, speaking to the client every day, pitching the business, like working 60, 70 hours a week. There's a big difference, yeah? Because now I can focus my time on building an 8-figure business, then like hopefully a 9-figure SaaS business. I've got time and freedom to do that. So we all want to get to that point. So then you've got the choice. Because look, this business model here, once you get to your 4 delivery or 3 or 4 delivery and you're doing $1 million, you might still bill and you might do 1.5 or you might do 1.8. It's up to you. If you want to choose to still be in the business and be a bit more active and make more money, you can. But there's a choice there. So we want to get to the point where you can make that choice. There's a big difference between having a business that you have to go to work every day, or you choose to go to work and you choose, I'm going to work in the business today, I'll work on it. Okay, so that business model there, and I'm being very reserved on that 50% profit margin. So let's say you do 500K profit next year, you pay yourself 150K a year salary. You've got 250K a year over those 3 years. So remember last time we said 100K profit as a solopreneur after your salary. This time over 3 years is 750K. There's nearly $1 million there within 3 years that you can invest, 6-7% returns on property or whatever, and you can start getting to being financially free and being able to support your family and get away from the business, and then eventually that money will start building up. But here's the kicker, like again, going back to the book Build to Sell. You'll be able to get your business valuation. Let's say if you've got all the systems in place, you've got a team that delivers without you. You can easily get to, who's turned them lights on? Oh. You need to do number 4. You can easily get that to a $1.5 million valuation just on the ×3 EBITDA. So that's earnings before interest tax. So like based on a 500K, if you're doing that every year for 3 years and you've got a team, people will buy that business. And you could sell that business for 1.5.
At least.
At least, yeah. I always like being reserved with that. But look, this is the difference. Like this is the kicker. Solopreneur model. You've got 300K cash reserves. This time in 3 years' time, you've got 300K in the bank, yeah? After you've paid yourself. The 2024 agency model. It's $1.5 million valuation that you've got, and that's as an asset. And then you've got 750K net cash reserves, pure profit after you've paid yourself. It's $2.25 million for 3 years. It's 7.5 times more than doing it for 3 years as a solopreneur. So that's the big difference. So like year 1, you might think, oh, well, we make 100K, I've only made 250K, there's only 150K difference for all of that team. But no, because it compounds and adds up, and you're building an asset and a valuation of your business. So you can choose if you want to sell that one day. Any questions on that? Is everyone motivated to do the agency model now?
Yeah.
Yeah? Because that's the beauty about like even my business, like it's just producing cash every year. And then you might get to a point you might not want to sell it because you love the business so much because you're not in it all of the time. So my business, Ronald James, since 2016 when we first started, I was adding up, it's probably even more than that, but again being reserved, we've done over $12 million worth of perm revenue fees, and that's made me over $5 million profit over that time. And especially over the last probably 3-4 years, that's me 0% in the business. And I've still got the business as an asset that I can sell at any point, probably for 2-3 million, something like that, or maybe a little bit more. But it's producing cash every year, and that cash can be invested in myself or different things and different asset classes that I can then propel. So imagine doing that. That's what, 8 years? We got to that. But now the business is just like, runs on clockwork. So now which model are you choosing for your future? So I think what we're going to do now, just for the next 10 minutes, I want you to map out your 2024 agency model. I want you to go to, on the slide in the workbook, we're going to fill in now, ladies and gentlemen, is the 1 year goal, okay? So we want to know revenue you want to get to, the profit you want to get to. So we're going to reverse engineer the numbers. So how many deals you need to do. So you work on what your average fee is, what the average fee was over this year. Working out how many clients you actually need to get to that figure. So I always work out, well, how many placements do I make per client is how many clients I'm going to need. And then my live jobs to fill ratio. So let's say it's normally 1 in 3. So every 3 live jobs you get, you might fill 1 of them. So you know your jobs. And then your full-time team. Quickly mapping out what your hires are going to be for 2024 in these boxes. So who are the key hires? These 6 hires in this box here. If it's marketing source or delivery consultant, and what quarter or when you're going to hire them. So whether it's going to be March, April, and how the hires are going to work as well.